What's up guys, it's Michael here. In this video, we're going to talk about no income tax states versus states with income tax. The major thing you gotta take away is income tax has a major effect on how much income you take home. So a lot of people say income tax is helpful for the government to provide you goods and services. Other people say it's pointless, it's just sucking away the hard-earned money from hard-working Americans that have to take home from paycheck to paycheck. And they say they'll help businesses instead. So we are here to break down between states with income tax and states with no state income tax. Let's begin. The takeaway is what you look as versus states that have high income tax and states have lower income tax to no income tax. So states with higher income tax, they usually have other types of taxes that are lower to subsidize the higher income tax. The only exception is the one state, is where I currently live in California, where they try to raise income tax at the same time, raise every other sorts of tax. So that one state out of the 50 states, the only exception. But other states, let's say like Nevada, which is right next door to California, have no income tax and they have lower property tax. But the trade-off is how they make their money is from the sales tax. The sales tax is a lot higher than the average for all states. But at the same time, it's still lower in California, which is not surprising. And you look at other places like Texas, no state income tax, but they have higher property tax. When it shows that at state average that Texas has a higher property tax than California, actually that is not true. It really depends on the localized area and what other fees and other junk that comes in just to get your money. So to break down whether it's beneficial or not to live in a state with no income tax, in a state with income tax, you gotta look at multiple factors. So we're gonna go through states with income tax. So mainly states with high income tax, you gotta look like California, which currently leads the entire 50 states in the highest income tax, currently I believe at 13.3%, and now they're trying to pass a new proposition to raise it up to like 16.8 for anyone who makes more than $1 million or more. Forget about whether it's, good for the economy or not, forget about that, but the main point is they're raising that tax itself. So if people start leaving, then where are they gonna get their money from? Because so far, the tax itself, like that's only for $1 million people who make $1 million bucks, right? No big deal, but you think about it, if they leave, and the people below who are paying around, I believe, people who make around like 80 to 120,000, I believe, they pay around 9%. Don't quote me on that. I believe like 9.9 to 9.5%, which is pretty high already compared to other states. So those people pay a majority of the wealth already away. And it said maybe, like a lot of people say, why don't the rich pay their fair share? As a study shows from the US Census that in California, I believe 46% of the state's revenue is paid by millionaires. So if you're telling me to pay their fair share, they're already paying almost half of it already. The rest are small business owners and other people who don't make that much are paying the rest. So if they start leaving, then who's gonna pay for that chunk of money? So you look at the same time, like California, they pay really high income tax, right? Then wouldn't it mean their other taxes would be lower? No, that's sadly unfortunate. So compare that, we pay one of the highest sales tax, getting close to 10% of whatever we buy, sales tax fee. I believe it's like 9.5, almost hitting 10. And with like, what about property tax? When I looked it up, it was like 0.72%. I find that to be BS too, because personally, I live in California. The last time I paid my property tax, it was 1.25%. So I don't know where do people get 0.72%. I don't know how they do it. It's probably in like certain areas and counties, but most of my friends who live here pay above the national average. So whatever they say or people say, I don't know where they get that from, because I find that to be not true. So you compare it to places like no income tax states such as Nevada. Nevada, their property tax is at 0.69. It's still lower than California's. And the sales, like how they make their money, maybe it's sales tax, right? Sales tax, still lower in California's. I believe it's around 8%, and California's is 9.5. And you look at Texas. Texas, no income tax state, right? Fine. How they make their money? Well, just raise your property tax higher than a national average. But here's the pros and cons come into really big play. So property tax is based on how much your property is worth. And you can either become two things. It can become progressive or it can be set. So if it's like a set ratio of, let's say, to whatever Texas property tax is, if that's a set rate, so whatever house you buy, the more expensive it is, it's always going to be that set rate. It won't fluctuate. going over the years. If they calculate by fluctuation, then like California, state income tax, the more you make, the more they take. So it doesn't incentivize new businesses and other people to make more money. In Texas, on the other hand, if they keep it like a set rate, then people know, hey, when I come in here, I'm not going to be screwed by any other policies makers that try to take away and harm my business. Then they don't mind trying to make more or get a more expensive property because they know that rate's going to be fixed. Whether it's beneficial or not, I consider it to be actually very beneficial because states with no state income tax, you see a lot of big companies and corporations moving. Especially with this current pandemic. This current pandemic really shows how California itself is losing one of its biggest income earners. So for this year, as you've seen recently with Tesla, Elon Musk, he announced it out to the world that he's getting out of California. Even his Fremont factory is having like basically shutdowns or just saying that they're not going to open. And he moved out to Texas. They have other articles fighting about him. But at the same time, as you think about it, he can save that 13% and even get away from all the politicians that are trying to pass this new proposition that they'll chase anyone who makes over 30 million a year for the next 10 years, which honestly, that's unconstitutional. The reason why states shouldn't be allowed to do that is because there's a reason why people move from different states from other states so they can find a better life. It's basically just tagging them for the rest of their life. Can't do that. Honestly, hopefully that will not pass. And you look at another big tech company, Oracle. Oracle, a major tech company. They recently, also same with Elon Musk, leave California for another state. That's why you don't see any big companies anymore opening their major manufacturing here in California because they don't find it beneficial. And he said because they're anti-consumer or blah, blah, blah. The only way you want to drive prices lower is to have more competition itself. That's how you drive lower prices, not just pushing them away. Pushing away doesn't work like that. So you look at the difference between the two types of income tax. So in Texas, if Tesla moves, no income tax state, when their employees move over there, then they don't have to pay that whatever fee they pay. So about Tesla employees that make over, I believe, over $150,000 a year, based from what I've seen and heard. And you think about that I believe was 9.5% to 10%. They don't have to pay for the income tax. They can keep in their pockets. So here the controversial thing is they say, well, they're gonna get you another tax like sales tax, but hate to break it to you, sales tax in Texas, still cheaper in California. Water, electricity, gas, still cheaper in California. And the reason why it's cheaper in California, because California loves to tax everything they can get their hands on. Gas, 50 cents per gallon tax. Electricity, which we're currently California trying to go be the leaders in climate change. Guess what? They're gonna tax the crap out of electricity once that plan gets in action. Water, right now it's pretty cheap, but it's not as cheap as Texas. They're probably gonna tax the crap out of that too, which is no difference. So when it comes to the benefits, the no income tax state at the end, they can see the long term that the benefits will eventually go to them because the more money people make, the more they will spend. So if they keep their no income tax or whatever money they can keep in, they can make it back from them from sales tax by buying more goods and services. So their sales tax is not as high as other places. If they purchase it, sales tax money will come in. They don't need to raise it because more people continue spending. In theory, they will make more money because they can see the long-term benefits compared to other states that have really high income tax. And you see in higher income tax states, when you look at the two GDPs, you can say that like, yeah, California makes more money than Texas in GDP in 2019. And they're saying that California itself can be a complete country itself. Well, yeah, in GDP terms. The problem is now, since they're raising the tax, more and more people are leaving. And of course, you have people coming in too, but those are foreign investments. And if foreign investments find that it's not beneficial, they will leave also to other states. So whatever the idea is state income tax, I don't know where they got it, but raising it is obviously not a great idea based on showing on the standards. States with no income tax encourages a lot more businesses to start over there compared to states with really heavy regulations. So you guys should decide for yourself, should you move to a state with no income tax or should you move to a state with income tax? Personally myself, I believe the option states should have no income tax, and you should also look at the other taxes such as sales tax, gas tax, electricity tax, property tax. You look at those and you can calculate which state is beneficial for you to live in. I'll see you next time in my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, and you'll see you next time. Peace.